realized I wasn't decluttering because I wanted a lighter life. I was cleaning because I was afraid of being judged by guests, by family, even by the image of a perfect home online. So I wrote something down for myself. I want a tidy home so our mornings are calm, not filled with shouting while looking for things. That sentence changed everything. I stopped aiming for a Pinterest perfect house and started aiming for a house that runs smoothly. Before touching any space, I began asking, why does this area exhaust me? What exactly is not working? That question helped me see that the goal wasn't beauty, it was function. This year, I'm slowly changing my habits. I'm choosing fewer things, clearer systems, and practical routines that actually support our daily life. I want a home that serves my family, not impresses strangers. In this video, I'm sharing the methods that helped me a lot. I'm not chasing perfection anymore. I'm building a home that feels lighter, calmer, and truly livable, and I hope you'll walk through this reset with me. Now let's get started. First, we begin with I took everything out, the moment I stopped rearranging clutter and finally faced the full reality of what I owned. I began with the linen closet. Instead of shifting stacks around like I had done for years, I took everything out, every towel, every bedsheet, every extra toiletry, and placed them on the bedroom floor. For the first time, the shelf was completely empty. And for the first time, I could see the truth. There were 17 bath towels for a family of 4. I used to believe I needed more storage, bigger shelves, better organizers. But standing there looking at that pile, I realized the issue was not space. It was excess. I had been managing overflow instead of questioning it. Before putting anything back, I took a photo of the pile. Not to shame myself, but to document reality. When items are tucked neatly into stacks, they look reasonable. Spread out on the floor, they tell a different story. The photo made it impossible to deny how much I was holding on to just in case. Then, I asked simple questions. How many towels do we actually use in a week? How often do I wash them? What would realistically be enough? I kept 2 per person and a couple of backups for guests. The rest went into a donation bag that left the house the same day. What surprised me most wasn't the empty space afterward. It was the mental quiet. When I opened that closet the next morning, nothing was stuffed, nothing toppled over. I didn't need better storage, I needed fewer things. Seeing everything at once gave me the courage to reduce. And that has become my rule for every area of the house empty. First decide second, emptying everything showed me the truth. But seeing the excess wasn't enough, I needed a clearer way to make decisions. Next, in sort, first decide. Second, I changed the way I made decisions. In the past, I would stand in front of a cluttered cabinet and try to decide what to keep while everything was still mixed together. Towels tangled with medicine skincare, stacked behind cleaning sprays, backups hiding behind backups. It felt overwhelming, so I usually kept more than I needed just to end the process faster. I changed that habit. I emptied one bathroom cabinet and separated everything into clear categories on the counter towels, medicine, skincare, and backup toiletries. I refused to decide on anything until it was grouped. The moment items were sorted, the decisions became calmer and more logical. The medicine pile was eye-opening. I checked expiration dates one by one. Anything expired went straight into a disposal bag. I realized I had been keeping certain bottles for years just in case. But expired medication is not security, it is clutter disguised as preparedness. With skincare, I opened every product. If it had dried out, separated, or smelled off, I let it go immediately. I stopped keeping half-used bottles simply because I felt guilty about wasting money. The waste had already happened when I stopped using it. For backup toiletries, I set a clear limit no more than 1 or 2 extras per item. 4 spare deodorants or 6 toothpaste tubes were unnecessary. Limiting backups reduced visual noise and stopped me from overbuying. Grouping first gave me clarity. When things are mixed together, they feel smaller and less significant. When they are visible in categories, the truth becomes obvious. That simple shift, sort first aside second, has made my home lighter and my habits more intentional. Once everything was grouped and visible, a deeper question surfaced. It wasn't just about what to keep, it was about defining what enough actually means for our family. Now we move into part number 3, defining enough. For years, I kept extras out of habit. Extra towels, extra sheets, extra everything just in case. It felt responsible at the time, but in reality, I was storing comfort, not necessity. So I sat down and asked myself a simple question: what is truly enough for our family of 4? For towels, the answer was clear: 2 bath towels per person. That meant 8 in total, not 17, not a few more for safety, just 8 that we rotate and wash regularly. The closet instantly felt calmer. Nothing toppled over when I pulled one out. For bedding, I kept 2 sets of sheets per bed, one on the mattress, one clean in the closet. That's it. I used to buy extra sets during sales because it felt smart and economical. But buying something just because it's discounted is still bringing more into the house. A lower price does not create a higher need. I also began asking myself, if this item disappeared today, would I immediately go out and buy another one? If the answer was no, I didn't need it. That question removed emotion from the decision. It replaced vague anxiety with practical thinking. At first, the reduced shelves looked almost empty. I felt a slight discomfort, a sense of, is this too little? But I realized that feeling was just habit. I was used to seeing abundance. Over time, the emptiness started to feel spacious, not lacking. Keeping the minimum that truly serves us has made daily life smoother. Less to wash, less to fold, less to manage, and far less mental noise. Defining enough helped with daily items. But the real test came with things tied to memory and someday plans, the items I had been postponing decisions about for years. At this point, letting go without negotiation became essential. One Saturday in January, I opened a large plastic bin in the garage labeled Christmas. I hadn't touched it in 3 years. Every season I told myself I would sort it next time, but next time never came. That morning, I decided there would be no more postponing. Inside were decorations I didn't even remember, owning tangled lights, faded ornaments, duplicate wreaths. I stood there and asked myself a direct question. If I haven't used this in 6 months, or in this case 3 years, why am I keeping it? I created a clear rule for the year. If an item hasn't been used in at least 6 months, it must earn its place back in the house. Most things couldn't. The hardest part wasn't the decision itself, it was the stories attached to the items. Maybe one day we'll host a bigger Christmas. Maybe I'll need extra lights. But I realized that maybe one day had become my favorite excuse to avoid letting go. I was storing possibilities, not reality. To make it practical, I gave myself another boundary. If I had to think longer than 30 seconds about keeping something, it probably wasn't essential. Truly necessary items are clear. They don't require long internal debates. Once I decided, I moved quickly. The donation box went straight into my car, not into a corner of the garage, not onto a deal with later shelf. I drove it to donate that same afternoon. Removing it from the house immediately prevented second thoughts. When I came back home, the garage felt lighter, but more importantly, so did I. Letting go without negotiation has become a discipline. It protects my space from being crowded by old versions of my life. Letting go emotionally was one step. Physically removing things from my home was another. I realized decluttering doesn't end with a decision, it ends at the doorway. Next comes the exit rule that changed my home. For a long time, I would fill donation bags and feel accomplished. then leave them sitting in the garage for weeks, sometimes months. The clutter was no longer inside my closets, but it was still inside my home. Those bags became quiet reminders of unfinished decisions. So I changed one simple rule: nothing stays in transition. When I fill a donation bag now, I immediately schedule its exit. Usually, that means putting it in my car the same day and planning a Saturday morning drop-off at Goodwill. If it stays in the garage, it slowly drifts back into the house. I've done that before: reopened bags, second-guessed myself, pulled items back out, delayed removal, invites doubt. Broken items follow an even stricter rule. If something is damaged and I have not repaired it within a reasonable time frame, it goes. Not into a fix later pile, not into a storage bin. If I truly intended to fix it, I would have done so already. Keeping broken things around creates visual noise and subtle guilt. I also stopped allowing in-between decisions. Items are either kept donated, recycled, or thrown away. There is no fifth category called maybe. That category used to consume the most space in my home. The biggest shift for me was understanding this. My house does not feel lighter just because I decided to let something go. It feels lighter when that item physically crosses the doorway and leaves. Completion matters. Now, when I close the trunk after a donation drop-off, I feel a clear mental release. The space in my home is honest again. Decluttering is not about moving things around. It is about removing what no longer belongs, fully and without delay. Now we arrive at use the space you already have, where I stopped overloading one closet and started distributing things logically. I treated one cabinet like a storage hub. All backup toiletries, extra paper goods, and cleaning supplies were crammed into a single hallway closet. It looked efficient on the surface, but in reality, it was constantly overflowing. Every time I opened the door, something fell out. I thought I needed a bigger closet. What I actually needed was better distribution. Instead of stuffing everything into one place, I divided supplies by location. Each bathroom now holds a small, reasonable amount of backup items: one extra soap, one extra toothpaste, a spare roll, or 2 of toilet paper. Not a warehouse. Just enough. I began using empty vanity drawers for hand towels rather than stacking them all in the linen closet. In our bedroom, I cleared one unused drawer and moved my personal care items there instead of keeping them in shared storage. Small shifts, but they changed the daily flow of the house. What I realized is this: when one area becomes the storage zone, it silently collects excess. Other spaces remain underused, while that single spot absorbs everything. Over time, it becomes unmanageable. I follow a simple principle: distribute, reasonably store, logically. Items live close to where they are used. No area should feel strained while another sits half empty. The house feels more balanced this way. Nothing is crammed. Nothing is hidden in deep piles. It's not about having more space. It's about using the space I already have wisely and calmly. Next, we will talk about create systems your family can maintain. I organized the house in a way that made sense in my head. I knew where the extra batteries were, which shelf held the medicine, and which basket had spare toiletries. But no one else did, so every time someone couldn't find something, they would call me. Slowly, everything became messy again because the system depended entirely on me. And I decided to simplify and make it visible. I bought a few stackable clear bins, nothing fancy, and assigned each family member a personal box for small items. Hair accessories, chargers, random personal things all had a contained space. When the box was full, it meant it was time to edit, not expand. I labeled shared categories clearly: towels, first aid, backups. The labels were simple and large enough to read at a glance. No decorative fonts, just clarity. That small change reduced daily friction more than I expected. One afternoon, my daughter needed a bandage. Instead of asking me, she went straight to the first aid bin and found it herself. That moment showed me the difference between organizing and building a maintainable system. Without labels, things drift. Items return to the wrong shelf. Piles slowly form. But when everything has a clear name and boundary, it's easier for everyone to participate. Now we move into stopped filling every shelf. After decluttering, I had to learn how to live with empty space. When I finished clearing out my pantry earlier this year, I stepped back and noticed something unfamiliar: open shelves. For the first time, there was visible space between items. Nothing was stacked tightly. Nothing was hidden behind something else. And strangely, my first instinct was to fill it. I caught myself browsing online for matching glass jars. I told myself it would look cleaner, more uniform. But when I paused, I asked a more honest question. Do I need these containers, or am I uncomfortable with the emptiness? I realized I had been conditioned to believe that full shelves look complete. Empty space felt unfinished, almost neglected. But that reaction had nothing to do with function. It was purely visual habit. So I created a rule for myself in 2026, a 30-day waiting period before buying any new organizing item. If after a month the system truly feels inconvenient or inefficient, then I can reconsider. But most of the time, the urge fades. The space works just fine as it is. The empty areas in my pantry are not gaps to correct. They are breathing room. They make it easier to see what we have. They reduce overbuying. They simplify cleaning. I am learning that space itself is valuable. It is not something that must be decorated or optimized at all times. Sometimes the most disciplined choice is to leave it alone. Decluttering is not only about removing excess. It is also about resisting the impulse to replace it. Finally, we come to visibility is the key to minimalism. One of my biggest clutter problems was deep shelving. In the pantry and bathroom cabinets, items were pushed to the back and forgotten. I would buy more shampoo, more canned food, more pain relievers, not because we needed them, but because I couldn't see what was already there. I stopped blaming myself for being disorganized and started adjusting the structure instead. I replaced deep piles with clear plastic bins, not decorative, just transparent. When I open the cabinet now, I can see exactly what's inside each container without digging. I also switched to pull-out bins instead of reaching blindly into the back of a shelf. Being able to slide a container out completely changed how I interact with the space. No more knocking things over. No more forgotten duplicates hiding behind newer purchases. Large, simple labels made another difference. Clear words like snacks medicine or backups prevent confusion. I don't have to think. I don't have to search. The goal is not perfect aesthetics, it's functional clarity. When everything is visible and reachable, I stop stockpiling out of uncertainty, and my home naturally stays lighter. A home stays tidy not because we are exceptionally good at organizing, but because we are willing to own less and resist the urge to refill every empty space. All the bins, labels, and systems matter, but they only work when there's breathing room, when we accept that enough is truly enough, when we allow a shelf to stay half empty without feeling anxious. The real shift isn't in how neatly we fold towels, it's in choosing not to store 17 of them in the first place. I also know how discouraging it can feel when you declutter only to see the mess slowly return. If that's something you're struggling with, you're not alone. Recluttering often comes from habits we don't notice yet, and that's something I'd love to explore more in a future video. For now, start small. Empty one space. Define enough. Let the excess leave. And most importantly, give yourself permission to live with space.